Bill Kipp here with Fast Defense. I'd like to cover what I call the ABCs of reality self-defense. In my estimation, for self-defense to be truly effective, we need to cover three crucial modules. Now, most self-defense courses are based on technique-based paradigms derived from the martial arts, which means we're only covering one facet, and to be honest, in my experience, most of the martial arts training is ineffective in the real world. And that's why we do scenario-based training, because it's a completely different training paradigm. It doesn't mean that the martial arts are wrong, it just means there needs to be a bridge from how we train in the safe environment of the traditional martial arts and how things happen in the real street. So the ABCs are how we cover the three crucial modules. The A stands for awareness. We need to be aware, of course, external environment, be aware of your surroundings and all that. That's pretty obvious. But we also need to be aware of our internal environment. And what I mean by that is we need to be aware of what are the effects of adrenaline, because it doesn't take much to get triggered into the adrenaline state. So the effects of adrenaline, the tachypsyche, a distorted sense of time, auditory exclusion, don't hear very well, tunnel vision, don't see very well, loss of fine motor skills. So all our fancy martial arts typically go right out the window. We need to be aware of the common mistakes that people make when they get into a situation that can make it worse. The two extremes are passive, to allow the person to walk all over us, or to be aggressive and escalate the situation. We need to be aware of the predator-prey dynamics. Predators look for specific cues, 9 times out of 10, so that they are tipped off to an easy victim before they even go up and interview them or check them out. We also need to be aware of our personal triggers, and we all have them. Doesn't matter how much skill you have, if someone's pushing your buttons and you're getting triggered into a rage, they're controlling you, and you want to be in control. Otherwise, things can go real wrong. So there's a lot to awareness. Then we go into B, which is boundaries. That's how to draw a line in the sand and back it up verbally, assertively, with your body language, so we can hopefully keep the situation from becoming violent. A great example of this is a cat cornered by a dog. If that cat runs out of the corner, it excites the predator instinct in the dog and it chases it. If that little cat turns towards that dog and raises its hackles and puts out some energy, that dog's going to leave 9 times out of 10, and so will the human dogs out there as well. So the verbal defense. Now, it's probably the hardest skill set that people can learn, and it's also one of the hardest ones for us to teach, but it's absolutely the most important self-defense skill of all. And then finally is the C, which is the combat. We also call it core confidence. These are the skill sets where you have to fight, and we need to keep the techniques very, very simple, but most importantly, we need to, through scenario-based training, get the students into the adrenaline rush so they can fight for their lives if, God forbid, they ever need it. So that's the ABCs as we practice them in Fast Defense. Hope you like my little pup bouncing around behind me, and just be safe out there.